What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Vigilante 1939 podcast. We got a special show, as you can see on the screen, as you can see in our apparel. We're talking about something very, very specific, very, very special. As you know, we just came back from a special screening of the Batman. Shout out to Warner Brothers and Allied Global Marketing here in the Chicagoland area as well. Y'all know who you are. I'm not sure if you watch this, but if you are, thank you so much for a wonderful experience. I have some wine, and you know when I talk about fine wine with films, it means something truly special. So I am going to host the review today. My name is Nikko Caruso. If you don't know me, to my right is my father, Nick Caruso Jr. How are you, sir? Pops, Dad?
Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful.
And of course, the man across the screen, the Batman hype man himself, the champion from the minute this thing was conceived, Mr. Nick Zeddy, as we know him. How are you, brother?
I am floored in the best way possible. What's up, gentlemen?
Can't wait to get into that. I heard the word floored. I'll tell you what else was floored. Oh, no, wait. That would have been a spoiler. Never mind. Non-spoiler reacts. We're only going to take about 10 to 15 minutes here just to talk about it. But I do want to start with Zeddy here, and I'm going to tell you why. This man, from the minute this film has been announced, you have been its champion. Me and Pops took a little bit of a growing curve until we started seeing some test screening footage and some of the costumes. And then the trailers are what really sold us on it, because we were kind of in that camp of like, we're going back to the beginning of Batman. We were looking to kind of keep going where it was going. That's just the fans we were. But you, from the very second it was announced, even when we still thought it was Reeves directing Ben Affleck, you were the champion of this thing. So Zeddy, just give me some overarching thoughts. Did this movie deliver? Was it worth the wait? And how do you feel?
This movie was everything that I wanted and waited for 5 years. And when I mean that this was an absolute euphoric experience for me, it was absolutely that. This whole movie, every frame in this movie had a purpose. The performances were amazing. It's such a just deep, methodical, overall Batman film, you know, and it's not going to be for everybody, and that's totally okay. But man, you got to give credit to Matt Reeves on this thing, because he literally took care. Every inch and ounce of this thing has care in it. So I'm floored in the best way possible. I wish I could go in more. I want to go in more.
We will.
But this is a movie where you have to absolutely respect all boundaries. You know, you can't go spoilers with this thing. Go in with as clear of a mind as possible, as an open mind as possible. I was hoping that the King Batman was back, and at least to me he is. How about you guys?
Cheers, mate. As the eldest Batman fan here, and I mean that with the utmost respect, the guy who's the reason I'm a fan and the reason I'm here, you've seen many different versions of Batman.
Yep.
When they were actually a thing at those moments in time, going back to Adam West, to Tim Burton stuff, to the Schumacher stuff, to the Nolan films, to Snyder. This is another one. How do you feel?
Wow. This is a hard thing to do without spoilers, so I'm going to just try to keep it concise here. Number one, it's the most ambitious Batman film ever made. If you think The Dark Knight Rises was ambitious and had a lot going on, this really is a major step above from that. I will say this: if you're a Batman fan, there's everything you like about Batman, that you love about Batman, is in this movie. It doesn't really leave much for the character. You're going to get a glimpse of every aspect of Batman in it. And I may be a prisoner of the moment. We're going to see this. We're lucky enough to see the movie tomorrow night. But Robert Pattinson, man, I hate to say this. I mean, I don't hate to say it. I love to say it. But I got to clear my thoughts a little bit. But he may well be the definitive Batman on film. And I mean that against everybody. Everybody. Now, there's room for him, too, to evolve beyond just what a great performance he gives, hopefully in future ones. But this movie was a lot to take in. You have to be patient with this movie. You have to pay attention to this movie. So do not, when you go, I wouldn't drink a lot. None of us went to the bathroom once.
No,
and I had to go pretty bad there about the last 45 minutes of the movie. So it's a movie where you feel like if you miss a little bit of something, you might miss a lot because it's a very detailed, very nuanced, very noir film. I can't say anymore. I'll spoil crap.
I want to get to the comments in just a sec, but I'll say too, you both have hit 2 points that I really want to take with and run. Zeddy, you said that Matt Reeves put so much care and so much into every single frame of this film. He truly does. And you used the words, the most ambitious Batman movie. I agree with you both. And I'm going to put those together and say Matt Reeves swings for the fences so hard in this movie. And he really does without spoiling. Of course, in our minds, we're all hoping for the future, right? But he put so much into this movie. It almost feels like he went for this as if it's the only one he's going to do. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, man, this is a purely Matt Reeves film. It is purely filmmaker driven to a T. People kept using this comparison leading up to the movie. And then today, when the embargo lifted, I saw this a lot. And having seen the movie, it's funny. It's not hyperbolic. I firmly agree. This is like Seven meets Batman.
Yeah.
And I love Seven. It's one of my top 5 movies ever. So I love this. But this is a true detective story. It is a slow burn neo-noir crime thriller. It almost feels like a 1970s thriller, but with modern cinematography, modern effects, and of course, Batman in the movie. It is so well crafted, and it's a technical wonder. I mean, the visuals, the production design, the score might be Giacchino's career best. I'm not sure. I have to see it again. It's just so well put together, and it is ambitious. There's a lot in this movie, and I want to get to the characters in a sec, but there's a lot of exposition, especially in the middle, which, like my dad says, if maybe you got up and were to leave, you might miss something, because the middle of the movie, this doesn't take away from the movie for me personally. It might for some, but it starts doing a lot of telling because there's a lot going on, and this overarching riddle is so detailed and so fine-tuned. So Zeddy, talk to me about just the story. Did the story work for you? Did you ever feel lost? Do you feel like it was too much? Do you feel like it was a filmmaker getting too cute at all? Do you feel that way?
So I feel like Reeves probably told the tightest story that he could have told. Now, granted, I know it's 3 hours, and I know the runtime isn't going to work for everybody, and that's totally fair. I do think it might have dragged just a tad bit. I do think I was maybe looking a little bit more from Reeves just in certain scenes. I think certain things maybe could have used a bit more explaining, and that's like if I have to nitpick something. But I thought he did a pretty good job at fleshing out, his version of a Batman story. I mean, this thing is 2 hours and 56 minutes around there.
45.
Yeah, it's not.
The credits take 10 minutes, and I guess we don't want to end credit. I mean,
no.
Okay, we won't spoil anything like that. I think we'd be doing people a favor.
Well, there was no after credit.
There's no after the credits.
There's something. The very end. There's something, but
if you want to stay and pay respect to all the people that worked hard on the film, by all means,
because there's some beautiful things to the classic creators.
Yes.
I will say this too, real quick. It's not like the Nolan films.
Not to answer
it. I got to answer this question. Yeah. I would say it's. Chris, it's almost like a combination of both of them, because for me, it's not as grounded as Nolan's films. There's just too much stuff that happens, and his detective work and some things that we see that we never saw before. Am I off base with that? Or
See, for me, in some ways, it is more grounded than Nolan's.
Oh, I don't see that.
But then there's moments that are more grand than Nolan's.
Yeah, I don't think
it's super interesting. I don't know how to answer it yet.
Yeah.
But I will say this. This is truly the movie that is the definitive version of World's Greatest Detective. This is a detective story first and foremost before it gets into the rest of the Batman stuff. And I'm kind of with the both of you.
Right.
I don't think. Yes, yeah.
I gave the high five, buddy.
High five me. There we go. That was the second one.
Yeah.
I will agree with you to an extent, Zeddy. The runtime I never felt it.
Yeah.
When the movie ended, there's a way you start knowing the movie's ending, and I was actually like, oh no, I kind of want more. I wanted more. I'll chug this one. I wanted more. But I will say, I could sit through 4 hours of two people in a room talking because that's how I like film. That's how I digest film. The runtime might get to some people.
Yeah, the runtime is a slight issue. I think Ian asked that. It's a slight issue where, boy, I know I said this before, and this is crazy what I'm going to tell everybody here, but I almost wish that Matt Reeves would do. I almost wish they would do something like this in a series format. I really do. I know you guys get mad when I say that, but to have an HBO Batman series,
because you won't get the same visuals.
Nah,
or the same grant. No.
Well,
no,
let's talk. Let's talk.
Oh, no. Same visuals on TV.
Because as long as on HBO you could, you can get that on
Even
HBO.
Game of Thrones season 8, when you start comparing to feature films, there's no comparison. It will not look that good.
Well, this film never looks fake. I mean, it looks real to me. There's nothing in here. I mean, I'm sure there's CGI in here, but I don't notice it. It feels very real to me.
Yeah.
And I think that the cast is absolutely superb.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know how every one of them, even the secondary characters, like our guy, I never Sarsgaard. What's his name?
Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah, I mean, there's people in this movie that are in here, albeit brief, but they're one. I mean, again, it's like unbelievable performances. And I mean, I already told you what I thought about Pattinson. Zoe is incredible. Jeffrey Wright is incredible. And John Turturro is unbelievable as the mob boss. Boy, I got to be honest with you, man. Paul Dano. And I won't spoil that because we can't talk about when Paul Dano's on the screen. It's pretty special.
He's the clear standout for me.
Yeah.
I agree with my dad.
Remember I said that was the guy that I was looking forward to the most. And you just be patient. Just be patient.
He has his own climax in a way, just as an actor, and the performance too. And it's not, I actually think the trailers have done a good job of subverting what he actually is.
Yeah.
What he actually is in the movie. I thought everyone was solid. I have a Batman take for Pattinson at the end, but it's funny. Even like John Turturro, they're all memorable. This cast is really memorable. I think now the Oz show makes sense. The Penguin show makes sense. Colin Farrell, Jesus.
Oh, you know how his hair is.
His hair looks. Is that a spoiler? Maybe we don't see his hair. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we don't see his hair, but if we were to see his hair, Paul Dano has great hair.
I think because Ian, they said it looks like Ian's hair.
Yeah, well. But Ian's significantly better looking than Paul Dano.
Ian might use better shampoo.
Ian
that's for sure.
Pull the roll off like Paul Dano.
No, he's too attractive for the role. We would have to give you like a Harvey Dent or something. You're too good looking for the role, and we mean that. I'm not even trying to be weird. No cap. I mean that. Zeddy, standout character or characters for you?
Yeah, I think Mr. C hit the nail on the head. It's funny because this is a movie where you literally feel it. You're sitting in there and you feel the performances, and that is what I think is the biggest strength that Reeves kind of does. The way he directs every character and tries to make you feel for each character. Who would have thought? Spoiling a movie based on people's hair. Who would have thought? So standout for me, I think Pattinson was excellent. I think Zoe Kravitz was excellent next to him. I thought John Turturro was pretty great. Oh, everybody was great. I don't think anybody wasn't not great, but I gotta agree with you guys on Paul Dano's Riddler because he is so utterly creepy, disturbing, and just methodical that it's like the role. Like it might be like perfect casting. Like the more I'm thinking about it, because he played the role so damn good, and I think it goes beyond Reeves just casting him. I think he knew the assignment. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, there are several scenes, and I don't want to spoil it. I don't even, but like, my God, like,
I'll just
talk
say
about
this.
tearing up the scene, man.
If you guys go to church,
Oh, you
Ave
won't go to
Maria.
church.
Ave Maria is going to take on a whole new form for you guys if you go to church.
What's great?
Ave Maria.
Chris wants about Alfred. Alfred's great. But
hold on.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And this isn't a spoiler. There's the reason for this, Chris, because I agree with you. Not a lot of Alfred in this movie, and that's gonna kind of segue into my last kind of segment for us here. Is not a lot of Alfred. Is let's label this criticism / left to be desired. So I'll just take this one first. I wanted a lot more Alfred. They do things with him and Bruce's relationship that is really beautiful and really interesting. And I feel like there is a next, and maybe they're saving it for sequels, but I did tell you this movie does feel like it could stand on its own. It really does. Aside from one scene at the end of the movie. Wink. One scene at the end of the movie is like, okay, clearly they're hoping there's more, but no spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like to go back to my point, I feel like there's one last piece of the Bruce and Alfred thing that could have happened in this movie that didn't, where I said, okay, I really wanted that last piece of what I think Matt Reeves tried to set up. And that goes to the ambition thing. I do think there are some storylines, even though the performance are great, a couple characters that are victims of the ambition. Alfred being one of them, and a little bit of Selena. But I can't say that until we do our spoiler reaction one on Thursday or Friday, where I talk about, even though Zoe Kravitz was really, really great, there's a little more I think she was marketed a little more than she turns out to be. My only other gripe was a little bit of the exposition in the middle, in the second act. This really does feel like Seven meets Batman, where the clue starts unraveling and the characters kind of talk it out. But I will say there is one specific plot point that gets revealed and then quickly, like, exposition-y undone. Like, they set up something in this big monologue, then another monologue right after, and then it changes to a dialogue between two characters where it's like, whoa. And then immediately after that, two characters talk and it undoes what was just said. So I feel like Matt Reeves either got nervous he did something and really wanted to undo it, or he felt like we as the audience weren't going to get it. And I normally forgive exposition. I normally don't mind. I feel like some movies need it. This movie, it does a good job of it. And then, like I said, there's a 25-minute sequence that's just, if you go to the bathroom during it, you miss a whole part of the movie that really plays into where Batman is at the end of the movie. So that's like a little chip I'll give at Matt Reeves, and more with Alfred and a little more with Selena for me. Other than that, I really have a thing wrong with this movie. And you could call me hyperbolic, but man, how about you?
Let's close. We'll close it out now, because we go this any longer, we're going to spoil stuff.
Sure.
As I sit here tonight, I said it's by far the most ambitious Batman movie, with just about everything you can want in there. I don't know where to rank it yet. It's certainly a top 3 for me, at least
in terms of Batman movies.
It's somewhere there. I don't know that it knocked The Dark Knight off the pedestal. I'm not sure yet. But it is, for me, I do the same thing again. I look ahead, and I think where it could go could have a chance to do that. And I'm going to leave it at that, because I want everyone to go see it. We need to support this movie. If you're a Batman fan, I don't know how you won't like this movie. I really don't. And I hope everybody goes to see it. I hope the GA gets into it and sees it. I mean, it's not a kid's movie. I will say that to all our guys out there with young kids. It's not a movie. I wasn't always the greatest father. I took these guys to see a lot of movies, but I don't know where I would draw the line here. 10 years old, 9 years old. I don't know.
It's close. If PG-13 has a You're gonna have to bring a big cup. I promise you. It's probably like 2 hours. It's probably like 2 hours 10 minutes in. There is Batmobile action, and it's epic as hell.
But Batmobile action, he said. He's talking about in the Batmobile.
Oh, shoot.
Not in the Batmobile.
No, but listen, they have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Rob Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, they made sure to let us know, I don't. Now I'm distracted by thinking about Zoe Kravitz. Zeddy, final thoughts.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Final thoughts for me are this was a nearly flawless Batman movie for me. I think, like I opened up, I think this was well worth the wait as somebody that followed this movie for 5 years, that followed every little detail that was revealed about it. Somebody that loves Matt Reeves as a filmmaker. I think this was one of his all-time greats. I would say if you're a little bit cautious about Matt Reeves, catch up on his filmography because he literally made the most tension-built Batman movie that I've ever seen personally. And I think if you're a Batman fan, you're most likely going to walk away satisfied. But I'm personally somebody that I sat in the theater tonight and I felt like I had a sigh of relief, It was like that long, I just watched the Batman and it delivered for me. So that's kind of where I want to leave it. It delivered for me. I want to say more, but I'm satisfied. I think that's the word that I'm going to leave with. I'm satisfied.
I love it. 8. Here's what I'll say and then I'll wrap up.
Man, yeah.
This pushes the line of PG-13 more than any other PG-13 I've seen in my life. I could make an argument with you that this is a rated R film with the PG-13 tag on it.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you.
Let
me say this for somebody because this has been mentioned before about the opening scene. It's a little rough for kids.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the first 10 minutes of the film.
This has horror movie elements to it. It does.
It's a little rough. I was scared.
It was this is an R movie.
The kind of thing maybe if you see it is stay with you a little bit and give you some nightmares. But again, I don't want to tell anybody what to do. That's just kind of like how I feel.
And then on top of it,
it fits with the movie, and the movie isn't all like that, but
no,
it's a little graphic.
Here's what I'll say to you, and this is not a spoiler. The subject matter, the violence, the overarching nature of the riddle. There's also not that much action, which I don't mind. And the best Batman stories of all time don't have that much action in them either, in my humble opinion. So 245, 250 movie, questionable are subject matter and violence, not mainly detective, not a lot of action. I don't know. But Lil Tank in a few years, once he's 13 or 14, he's going to have a freaking ball with this.
I think so too. Maybe by that time too, it'll be a trilogy and
you could binge them all. It's going to take you 9 days. Here's my final thoughts. This is the most Batman movie there is.
Yeah.
And I'm almost going to say that's subjective because he is in the costume
a lot.
Like 70.
I think he
5 to 80% of this movie.
I think there's more Batman in this movie
than any other
than
Batman
the 3
film.
Nolan movies put together.
That's a good. That's a good.
Honestly.
And
I think in the first half of this movie, you could count Christian Bale's minutes as Batman in the 3 movies.
It's the most Batman movie ever. Yeah. He's in the suit the most, which I like because
I loved it, man.
The Bruce Wayne stuff is coming. Like Matt Reeves said.
All right, don't spoil.
I'm not. Matt Reeves has said, and we all agree that that Bruce Wayne is the mask. That's something that's always been a thing in comics and portrayals. This movie's called The Batman. There is a beautiful narrative in here around the idea of the mask. And this is mainly a Batman film. And I do think the Bruce Wayne stuff is to come.
Yeah.
So
I would say that too, yeah.
It is the best. It is the most Batman movie there is. And here's how I'll sum it up. Our guy, Dave Hirsch, tweeted at me and said right now, like half hour ago, he goes, just tell me this. Does it knock off any of the Nolan films? Or if that's too hard to say, does it touch the Nolan films? To both those statements, I just say Yes. Where exactly does it place and which ones does it knock off? To be determined after a few more viewings. But what I'll say is I cracked open the wine for this review. Like Zeddy said, like my dad said, I truly think if you are a die-hard, and I'm going to use the word die-hard Batman fan, this is your movie. This is the most Batman-y movie to exist. And Matt Reeves earns every ounce of that artisan tag this movie got on AMC.
Yeah.
It is an artistic, technical wonder with a lot more emotion.
Right.
And
so don't listen to us. Get your tickets. Hopefully everybody's got the tickets.
If you're seeing it tomorrow,
go see it, because the most exciting thing is gonna happen in the days to come when we could all talk about this movie and have some fun with it and give our spoiler reviews.
Thank you, Chris. Love you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Also, thank you so much for the support. We are so blessed.
Yeah. Thank you.
So lucky that we got to see this when we did, and it is truly because you guys literally give a damn that we do this once a week.
Yeah. I just want everyone to love it, and hopefully we'll, like I said, yes, Zeddy is vengeance.
Zeddy is vengeance. So, closing thoughts is go see it. We are the Vigilante 1939. It is a vigilante film. We've all thoroughly enjoyed the Batman. A couple more viewings.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we have one, and then Zeddy's going Thursday, and then we're going again Saturday. But we are going to have a combo, a full spoiler-filled analyzation and review going up either Thursday or Friday. Maybe we put it up on Friday so people on Thursday see it, where we're going to deep dive on it. What's great is we'll have 2 viewings in by the time we do that. That's one of the only times we'll have 2 viewings in before we do the actual full review of the movie. Yeah. So a lot of
who knows? Thoughts. I might not like the second
We'll
viewing.
give some clarity. I don't know about that. So for Zeddy, for my pops.
Yep.
We are vengeance. We are the Vigilante 1939. Zeddy, you got to do your closing as always. I can't close the show without you doing it. So
even Michael Keaton likes this movie, I think.
Even Michael Keaton likes this movie.
But Zeddy, you need the words. Go. It always has to sign off with you. It always
does. Yes. As SAG Award winner Michael Keaton's Batman always says, "I want you to tell all your friends about me."
And tell all your friends about the Batman.
Do we live in a society?
We live in a society. Yeet.